I'm Stephanie, and this is Texas Peach Knits. It's mid-March. Normally I have been podcasting closer to the beginning of the month, but there were several things that went on the past month or so that kept me a little busier than usual. So I have a little less knitting and maybe a little more life updates. Nothing major, just lots of little things at the end. I also have quite a few acquisitions because we all know that if we're not knitting enough, we end up shopping for yarn. And I think that's a real thing. My husband does the same thing with records. If he's not listening to his records, he is shopping for more records. So if you haven't watched before, I'm Stephanie. I started podcasting last September because I love to watch podcasts and I love to enjoy hearing about other people talk about their projects while I am having my knitting time. So I thought I would add to that sea of knitting podcasts my own, just so there would be more out there for people like me that really enjoyed watching knitting podcasts while they knit. I only podcast once a month, and sometimes I feel like I should podcast more, but with the rest of life, that's sometimes hard to do. I'm a homeschooling mother of 4 children, ages 5 up to 13, so kindergarten, 3rd grade, 6th grade, and 8th grade. This is our 7th year homeschooling, and we intend to keep doing it. My husband is a musician and a teacher, and we live outside of Fort Worth in the great state of Texas. It's been about a month and a half, and I haven't finished a whole lot of things, but I did finish something very cute. This is the In3s cardigan. This was a really popular cardigan pattern back when I was still new on the internet knitting scene. I'm not sure exactly what year it was published, but I remember it from long ago, and I purchased the pattern a long time ago. So I knit the size, let's see, I didn't take good notes either, so I'm gonna have to check. I knit the smallest size, which I believe was 0 to 3 months. It's actually, I feel like it's large, and that might be because I am a loose knitter. This is worsted weight yarn, and it's called Sprightly. I bought it from Love Crafts, and it's from the Blueprint company. It came in a kit for an Afghan. So this is a partially used ball. It is called Misty Pink, and it is worsted weight and 100% acrylic. And actually, once I was working with it, it really reminds me of Vanna's Choice yarn, if you ever used that yarn, and it was fine to work with and great for baby things since it is machine washable. So this In3s cardigan is a part of my Make 9 for baby gifts because I have so many friends and family having babies this year, and this is the first one I've completed. Now, I use just slightly more than 1 ball of yarn, and that's why this end is not woven in. This is where I had to add the 2nd ball of yarn right down there at the bottom of the hem. So just a tiny bit of it needed the 2nd ball. Now the buttons are actually buttons I inherited from my great aunt Tilly. She was a crafter, and after she passed away, I was given many of her craft supplies, including these little shell buttons. So this is the In3s cardigan. I used a 4.5 millimeter needle, and it used 107 grams of yarn. So just a little more than 1 ball. So I guess if I had made it shorter, it or used another smaller needle. I could have used just one ball. So this is going into my pile of baby gifts. My other finished project was the sweater I was knitting for my son, and I actually finished this right after my last podcast. This is a Barocco free pattern called the Lawrence Pullover, and it is out of worsted weight yarn, acrylic. It's the I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. My 5-year-old son picked it out, and I don't think you can tell on the video. Oh yes, maybe you can. He has already worn this several times and it has been washed. So it's already getting kind of a little bit pilly. But overall, considering how much he has worn it, I think it's doing great. And in my acquisitions later in this episode, I have a new tool that will hopefully help me with the fuzz on this sweater. So he chose the colorways. I believe it's dark country blue and blue green multi, and it's just I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. So he wanted a sweater, and when I was finishing the last sleeve, he was sitting next to me helping with the pulling the ball of yarn and encouraging me to keep knitting. So he really wanted it. So that was an interesting day when I was close to being done. So this was a really easy knit, the Lawrence pattern by Barocco. You can knit it on straight needles. I ended up doing the arms in the round, even though it tells you to pick them up flat and then seam the underarm. I picked them up in the round, and I picked up one stitch for every indentation of the purl rows, the garter stitch rows, and I decreased just a couple of times close to the cuff. Then I did a rapid decrease and a 2x2 rib, and I did the ribbing pretty long because I wanted him to be able to roll it up this year and then next year roll it down. But with the speed that he is growing, it'll be really good luck if he can still wear this next year, because he's getting tall fast. So we will see what happens. So that is my other finished object. So next, I have the next, these are my works in progress now. I have the next work in progress for my baby gift pile. This is the Leaf Love Baby Sweater by Taiga Hilliard. And it has this really pretty lace panel and an offset button band. So this is also a worsted weight because I'm trying to use up all of this Sprightly, and I ended up casting on the Dusty Rose for this one as well. And I am knitting on a size 6, 4.0 millimeter. So I'm still in the raglan, and you can see the start of that lace panel. So I've knit this at least once before, and it turns out really cute. And I am knitting the size. I believe I'm knitting the size 3 to 6 months. So, because a lot of these are summer babies, and that way they'll be able to wear it in the fall. So it has a little seed stitch neck, raglan. So, and this is just a fun and easy, fairly easy pattern. So that's how far I've gotten on that, and using the same Sprightly yarn. I gave one of the off-white Sprightly yarns to my 11-year-old because she said that she was going to knit an N3's cardigan for me, and she's actually a very good knitter, and I would encourage her to help me knit the baby gifts, but she loves to start projects, and she doesn't always stick to them. So she has set it down, and I am going to try to rescue it and maybe finish it for her, or maybe me fishing it out of her room will make her want to finish knitting it. So, and I just had that in my bag I made myself. This is fabric from Joann's, and it's just a little drawstring bag, but I love, love, love this fabric. So I bought this a couple of years ago at Joann's. Okay, so I always have a sock going, and I forgot to bring my Opal socks that I finished for myself that were out of the Opal yarn that Anna Knitter sent me, the subscription yarn. But I finished the second sock, and those are complete, and I've already worn those, but I left them in the house, so I can't show you. So maybe I'll share a picture. I guess I can. I learned how to put pictures in, so I can put a picture in, and you can see how cute they turned out. I really love them. I love the bright orange heels that they have, and I enjoy wearing them so much, and they really converted me to Opal. I really like knitting socks out of Opal, and they are very, very comfortable. So thank you, Anna. So my next pair of socks is out of this Patons Kroy socks, and this is the Brown Rose Marl colorway. I just think that's so pretty. And so this is all browns and tans, and it's very marled. So I originally was knitting these for myself, but then my cousin is getting married, and I thought it would be so cute to send them his and hers socks for their wedding. So here is the one sock finished. So this will be the hers, and I'm going to finish the other one. I texted my aunt and found out their shoe sizes, and I'm just trusting that they will fit. But I think it will be a good little wedding gift to receive hand-knit socks, and we'll see how it goes. But so this pattern is very similar to Anna Knitter's God's Promise pattern, because I used her pattern for one of my previous pairs of socks, but I didn't actually pull up the pattern and read it when I was starting to knit these. So I just was knitting. See if I cover up my face, if it'll come into focus. And so it's like a checkerboard pattern, and I thought it looked really great with the stripes that were in the yarn. And I just did a 2x2 rib. These are 64 stitches. The contrast heel is Regia, and I got this with my Love Crafts order, and I thought I had knit with Regia sock yarn before, but I don't think I used a solid. And this is very squishy and round, and it made for a really nice thick heel. So I think I'm going to keep my eye out now for solid Regias for doing my contrast heels, toes and cuffs, or whatever I want to do. So this is Regia for Fadig, which I think just means 4-ply, and it's sock weight yarn. And this is color number 01992, which is just a natural off-white color. So I used that for this heel, and I ended up, since I still had quite a bit, this is the ball I used for this one, I decided to just go ahead and do the toe in the main colorway instead of doing a contrast toe. So, but probably a good length of leg still. So I don't know how long she likes her legs, and I had made it for me. And then about here is where I decided it was for someone else. So I'm gonna finish the other sock. I have cast it on. Here we go. There we go. And this is my car knitting. So every time we go somewhere that my husband is driving, and this week we've had a lot because he's been on his spring break from school, I do this work on my sock project. So the socks keep moving. And these are in my little cactus zipper bag that my sister bought for me at the Fort Worth Stockyards when she was visiting. So this is a great little bag. And I love looking for little zipper bags just in random places because they're so handy to have. Okay, so I have one last work in progress. Like I said, I did not do nearly as much knitting this month as I have, but I did work on my Acorn Trail cardigan by Amy Herzog. So this is the Acorn Trail. I had already finished the back, and I had finished the right side of the front. I think it's the right side. Oh, yeah. So this side is the one I had finished. It's all curly. I'm going to have to block it. And I think I am going to block all of the pieces before I sew them together because it's just, like, look how it's super, super curly. So I'm knitting this on size 6 needles, and I stopped mid-row because I was working on it today, and then I had an opportunity to come and film, and I just threw everything in my hamper and ran. So here's the other side. I am about 1 inch away from where I start the shoulder shaping, so the armhole shaping. So this has this little acorn cable, which is very cute. I like it. And then this little open work lace, and it's just a nice worsted weight cardigan. I did make it, I believe, about 2 inches shorter in the waist because I'm fairly short-waisted, and so we'll see how that goes once I get it all pieced together, because since I'm not knitting it top down, it's not as easy to try it on to see if that was the length I really wanted, but I did try to compare it to other sweaters that I like. So this is knit out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and this is the Brass Heather colorway, and it's just a really nice workhorse non-superwash yarn, so I really enjoyed working with it. I personally don't find it scratchy or anything, and it matches my red hair pretty good, so it will be fun to wear this sweater. And I already have a couple of dresses that I feel like it would go really well with, so I'm excited to have it done. So the sleeves don't have any cable on them, at least I don't think they do, and so I think the sleeves are going to go really fast. I think the working the little cables up the body slows me down just a little bit, and it's not as easy a project to just like pick up and throw down, so I always feel like I have to make extra time to work on it, so it doesn't get worked on as often. So that was my last work in progress, and I hope that you have been working on a whole bunch of fun things too. But like I said at the beginning, since I haven't been knitting as much, I have been buying some yarn. I do our taxes for our family. I used to work for a tax accountant, and I still do our personal taxes for my husband because he has a home business for his music. And so I bought some of the yarn as my payment for doing his taxes. So you'll get to see everything I bought. So now we are going to go to acquisitions, and mixed into this is my frugal find of the month, which, if I get this out quick enough, you still might be able to find in store. So the first one I'm going to show these in the order that I received them or purchased them. The first one is, I was really excited to get some Chicken Lady fiber arts. I've seen this in a lot of people online, and Lynn from Chicken Lady is just a lovely, lovely person. And the reason I bought this is because as a newsletter subscriber, she offered free shipping on the 5th Monday, I think, of maybe January. And she also had the law enforcement officer colorway in stock. So this is, oh, and it's DK weight sock yarn. So I've been really wanting to knit DK weight socks, and I'll probably look at the Rose Opal Knits pattern that they have for DK weight socks. But instead of just holding two fingering weight yarns together, I really wanted actual DK weight sock yarn, at least for my first pair. And then the law enforcement officer colorway, which is this just stunning blue tonal. My youngest son's godfather is a police officer, and our family adores him, and I am going to knit him a pair of socks out of this because I've now knit all of my family a pair of socks, and I'm starting to knit socks for all the people. So this is the law enforcement officer colorway on DK sock. It's 75% superwash, 25% nylon, 245 yards for 100 grams. So thank you, Lynn. I just love this so much, and I have been holding off casting it on, even though I received it quite a while ago, because I wanted to show it in the hank because it is so lovely. So this will go on my needles soon for our police officer friend. And then she also included with my orders this little yarn tasting box, and it's a little chocolate box, and it's so cute. I actually had to take this back from children that were trying to that wanted to keep it because they thought it was so cute. But she has all of her bases that she dyes on, and these are all done in hazy purple. So you can hold and feel each base, compare it to the card, and see which bases you are interested in using. I think this is so helpful, especially if you're ordering for a larger project. You can really get a good idea for what the yarn is like before you order it, because so many of the dyers' bases can be very different, and this is just a really great way to feel like you know what you're getting when you order. And this is such a pretty colorway too, this hazy purple, and it's just so cute. So the little card stays with the box, and she names the majority of her bases off of chicken breeds, which I also love because we have our own flock of backyard chickens, and I just think I like chicken things. It's just really fun. So that might have been one of the reasons that my kids were trying to steal it. Okay, so that was my first acquisition. Now this is my frugal find, and that is the Hobby Lobby clearance. So I've heard a few different things. I heard at Hobby Lobby that they were clearancing out the colorways of yarn that they would no longer be stocking, which has been my experience in the past, was that when they were clearing out certain colorways, they clearance them, and I always try to like watch and listen for that clearance. And this year I was alerted by my friend Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. I really appreciate it. And then I also heard online that Hobby Lobby might not be carrying non-Hobby Lobby yarn anymore. And that's completely a rumor, unsubstantiated. The cashier at Hobby Lobby said that they were just not carrying these colorways anymore, or maybe that the companies were not dyeing them, because even Hobby Lobby yarn itself was being clearanced. So I think it was just the colorways. Anyways, I really like Patons sock yarn, and now that I'm definitely a sock knitter, I knew that they usually clearance out some of the Patons colorways, so I really wanted to go specifically look for that. So I got some. So the first one I got is this plum, which goes with what I'm wearing. And these were reduced to $2.24 from $8.99, so that's 75% off, I think, which is awesome. So this color, I was thinking I could either try a patterned or lace sock, or just use them for contrast. But I bought two so that I could decide later which way I wanted to use them. The same with this next colorway. This is called Salt Water, and it is this beautiful aqua. It's a little more green than what it's showing up on the screen. On the screen it's showing up more blue. I would say it has more green undertones. But these were all clearanced out at 75% off. So two of those. And then I got just one of the flax colorway. And this is just, you know, a tan. I don't think I have any solids this color in sock yarn, so, but I only bought one because I didn't think I would want a whole pair of socks in this color. And then the patterned ones I purchased were this Midnight Orchid. And this is dark purple, medium green, and kind of like an olive green, along with the off-white color. So these will probably be socks for me now that I'm giving away the pink socks. And then the last color I specifically purchased for my cousin's fiance. It's the Brownies colorway, and it is all browns and tans. So for a gentleman who I have no idea what his feelings are on hand-knit socks, I thought this was a safe bet. So, and I can use the same off-white for the heels and toes if I need to, because he has larger feet. But I think they're not as much yardage as an Opal or a Regia sock yarn. However, it is a slightly thicker sock yarn, so I feel like the row distances are larger, and so you get more sock out of less sock yarn. I don't feel like I have a problem with gauge. I still cast on the same number of stitches, but I think maybe they just need fewer rows. But I don't know, what's your experience? I enjoy knitting with Patons, and I feel like it makes a really sturdy pair of socks. Okay, so that's all the yarn that I bought. I actually did get my 11-year-old daughter a couple skeins of yarn, and my 13-year-old daughter wanted a large, like super bulky skein for making her like dragon stuffed animals with. And then my 11-year-old, she loves everything teal, so she picked out a teal yarn that she wanted to make a hat out of, and then she bought a couple skeins of a kind of like a chroma yarn, like the Knit Picks chroma, to make a cowl out of, like the one that I was teaching my friend's daughters to knit. So she also got those, but I don't count them toward my stash because they're theirs and in their room. So then I found a few other like odds and ends things, and Hobby Lobby occasionally has really great tools for crafters. So I made sure to look in the tool section to see what was being clearanced out, and I got this travel fuzz remover called the Gleaner. And this is what I'm hoping to use on my son's sweater. It says that you can use it on many types of fabric, and it's basically a pill remover. So I'll have to figure out how to use this. So if there was a strange pause right there, it's because my husband called and he was home with a trunk load of soil for our garden beds. So I went and helped him unload them, and now I am back. So the rest of my Hobby Lobby acquisitions were some cable needles. I feel like I've lost more cable needles than any other kind of needle, and I am just not a no cable needle person. I have tried it before. I've tried doing cables where you just don't use one, but I like using a cable needle, and I know it slows me down a little bit, but I'm okay with that. So these were $1.49. And my 11-year-old found this cross stitch, "To know you is to love you." And if you remember, I made my parents a set of gnomes for Christmas last year, and so I will probably try to cross stitch this and frame it for Christmas this year, and we will see. I haven't finished a whole cross stitch in a while. I do have a quite large cross stitch that I have been working on for several years, and I've never showed it because it's just like an ongoing project, but maybe I will be able to stitch this because it looks kind of fun and fast. So we'll see how it goes. And this was only $2.74, and it comes with all the stuff. You really can't beat that. Then we found this little felting kit. It's Feltworks by Dimensions, and it is a needle felting kit for a little puppy. And my 5-year-old loves dogs, and his birthday is coming up. So my 11-year-old, who is very crafty and does not finish things, said that she wanted to try to make this for him, and since it was only $2.24, I said that's fine. That sounds like a great birthday present. So hopefully she will learn how to do this and enjoy it, because it is very cute, and I would like to know how to needle felt as well. And then the last thing that I picked up at Hobby Lobby was this binder. It is a needlepoint binder, and I think it's very attractive. It has a nice pattern, and this is like a thicker canvasy type fabric. I think it's plasticky, but not, it's like a fabric, plasticky fabric. I don't know if that makes sense. And it's called a needlepoint binder, and it's by everythingmary.com. So it has all of these pockets. So it has the big pocket for your hoops and your project, and then it has these smaller pockets for your threads or your notions. I thought this could be a good jewelry case as well. And then these are more of that small size pocket, and then it has these larger pockets, which I assume are for either threads you haven't wound up or your needles or scissors, things like that. And then another big pocket for a project in the back. So I thought this was actually very smart and handy, because one of the hardest things about doing any kind of needlework or cross stitch is that I feel like the pieces are just chaotic and just everywhere, and sometimes I'll put them in a project bag, but they're still kind of jumbled up, so that restricts me from when and where I can work on needlepoint projects. So I think this makes it really handy, and I could travel with this in the car if I was, I went outside of my kids' extra classes and lessons that they take, and if I had this all neat and tidy, I could take it with me. And it has little bees, bumblebees, so cute. Okay, last acquisition just came today at lunchtime, and I'm so excited about it. I have been wanting to order Opal yarn from Anna Knitter for a while now, and I had told myself I was going to wait until she had a collection that I really loved, like not just thought was pretty, because they're all pretty, but one that I just really, really loved. And she got the Van Gogh collection, which is always amazing. And I'm going to try not to crinkle too much. So here is her beautiful packing. She does such nice packing of her boxes. I got 5 skeins, and I feel like her price for Opal and her shipping cost is really great. This is a pink unicolor, and I believe it might have been called Fairy Pink on her website. I really liked it because it almost has like an orangey undertone to the pink. So I thought it would be fun to knit with. So I received this one. My 11-year-old daughter, who loves teal, picked out this one from the Pretty collection. This is 11-282, and it's all in German, so I don't know if it had a name. But so this is yellow, oranges, kind of pinks, and teals, and it's sparkle. So she really liked this when she saw it online, but then when she touched it out of the box, she's very touch sensitive, and she's not sure she will like the sparkle yarn on her feet. I think that once it's knit, she's not going to notice. But my other option is to maybe make her a hat out of it, but I would really like to make her socks because I think it's just going to knit up really cute. And then I got 3 of the Van Gogh colorways, And this one is very classic Starry Night type Van Gogh, though the painting that it is inspired by is just like a night scene at a restaurant. But these are the colors I think of a lot when I think of Van Gogh, so it's the golds and the dark blues. But my eldest daughter chose this one. She really, really liked it. And the other socks I knit her were those dark blue and green and like goldish color too. So I guess these are just the colors she likes for socks. But this will be really fun to knit. This one is kind of a swampy colorway. This is like a stairway and a bridge. So this is greens and tans. And I specifically bought this one for my husband because his school color is kind of like a limey green. So I've been looking for a green sock yarn that he would like to knit him socks for him to wear to work. And I think they usually pair the bright limey green with blue. So I think this is perfect because this is blues and greens. And he did really like it. Plus, it's somewhat muted, so I had considered like neon green at one point, but I thought he probably wouldn't really wear those to school, but these he would. So, and he loves hand knit socks. I've knit him so many pairs. So I'm looking forward to knitting these for him, and I will probably try to have them ready for his birthday next February. And then lastly, I picked out this colorway for myself, and I've been really looking for a Christmas sock yarn. I know it's not Christmas, but I like to be prepared, and I really love knitting Christmas socks in December. I think it's just really relaxing, and it's fun, and it's exciting if they're done in time to wear on Christmas Eve. But I chose this Van Gogh because it has red and green and kind of a snowy white and blue. And the picture even looks like it has little Christmas trees. And it's this looks like a whitish winter scene. But so this looks very Christmassy but subtle to me. And I feel like it would make really pretty Christmas socks. And I can't decide if I would want to pair it with a solid red or a solid green for like a contrast color. But I'm going to think about that and do either one of and maybe both. You know how sometimes you have like the cuff and the toe one color and the heel a different color? Because I think this is really, really pretty. And I think it's going to be a gorgeous and fun Christmas sock without being like commercial Christmas, more like homey Christmas. I don't know if that makes sense. So really excited about these. Very happy. Anna's shipping is so fast, and really no complaints at all. Like, super excited to knit with all this Opal. So that's all I have for knitting. Hopefully I will have more actual projects next month. I still had quite a bit, but it just feels like less because I think my last podcast I had been knitting like crazy. As far as life things go, we have been hitting the homeschool really hard. A lot of people get kind of a February slump, and we don't really get that because in February, I always get that, oh, the year is almost over. We have to like get to everything. We need to double check where we are in things. And it's kind of a reinvigorated homeschool time. Plus, all of our activities that weren't during January started back up in February, and we just ended up having so many things to do. Plus, we had a couple of big storms go through, and we didn't have any major damage to our house, but we had this one straight line of storms that went through with 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, and a lot of our neighbors lost trees, and our power was out for more than a day, and we had some of our shingles on our roof blow off, so we've been meeting with the roofer and getting some things fixed, plus helping our neighbors. And then on top of that, my mother spent some time in the hospital because she was having some issues that luckily we knew what it was, and she's here in the Fort Worth area too, so I was able to go to the hospital a couple of times and visit her, and everything was taken care of, so that's wonderful. She had excellent care, but it just, adds to the chaos of all the things. Then also we had spring break this week, and my older sister who lives in Iowa came to visit us with her family, and we did all the spring break things. So we went hiking, we went to the arcade, my husband and I, on a day that we weren't seeing them, we did some yard stuff. We were getting our garden ready. And so, all those little things. But the funniest thing that has happened between the last episode and now, and I guess it's not really funny, but our chickens were not doing their best, and we realized that they had worms. And if you want more information on chicken worms, you are welcome to email me. I won't give all the details for the normal people that don't want to know about chicken worms, but we had to give all of the chickens dewormer, and there's several different types that you can give them, ones that you put in their water, ones that you mix with their food, and then just like pills that you give them. And we wanted to make sure that each chicken got the right dose, and we didn't want to have to confine every chicken with the food and make sure it ate all the food that was mixed with the dewormer. So we decided to just feed each chicken a pill, and these were like large pills, like even some humans would have trouble swallowing them. But my eldest daughter, luckily, is a bird whisperer. It is one of her special gifts that she is really great with birds in particular, like not just animals, like birds, and not just chickens, like all birds. And so she caught every chicken, and we have about 18, and shoved a pill down every chicken's throat. And we had to do it twice. So you had to do it once, wait 10 days, and then do it again. And it was the first one I was really concerned. I told her, pick your least favorite chicken so that just in case it chokes, because these pills were big. But they were all fine, and now they're all super healthy and happy, and they just love the spring weather. They are just joyful chickens now, so I'm glad we caught it. But that did add some chaos to the past month and a half, so I hope that your life has been the good kind of chaos, and that you are knitting all the things that you love and getting all the yarns that you want to knit. So have a great rest of the month of March. It's gorgeous. It's St. Patrick's Day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.